All right, we now welcome the beautiful, thespically and musically talented working actress Parker Posey to the show here on behalf of Woody Allen's Irrational Man. Thank you, Parker, for doing this. You look great as a blonde.
Thank you.
You really look
I've
nice.
always been a blonde.
You always have? No way. Really?
No.
No, okay, all right. She's teasing me here.
I am.
Speaking of Irrational, I know securing roles and landing parts for an actor can be borderline madness and based on all kinds of randomness and chance, to crib from the movie here, but Irrational is the fact that this is your first role in a Woody Allen movie. And I'll tell you why that's crazy, and this is the God's truth. Watching movies like Interiors and Hannah and Her Sisters, and I know you were a child when both of those came out, but other Woody Allen movies, just like Radio Days, Bullets Over Broadway, Blue Jasmine, it's very easy to see you in any of those roles.
Oh, thank you.
But I mean, and now you are. So
I know.
How great is that?
That's it. I always felt like I belonged in one of his movies, and I mean, this is what it is to be an actor, is to, go into worlds created by great directors and feel like you have a home in them, And I related to Hannah and Her Sisters, Interiors especially, and just all of his films. So yeah, I was really, it just felt great. It felt great to be there.
And so all it really took was 3.5 minutes, huh? And 20 years from the first time you met him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I want to say what the fuck, but...
well, timing is everything,
yeah.
I mean, getting a part is like, with a real director who can cast whoever he wants, it's an instinctual thing, and Woody Allen is like a master of that. I happen to be right for this part at this time. I was in Krakow, Poland at the film festival with Juliet Taylor's casting director, and... I happened to be at a certain point in my life, and she felt I was the right temperature for this role, and brought me in 3 days later to meet him. And the next day, I am in the movie. Yeah.
You said it was a good role for you, and I totally agree. But how would you describe Rita Richards? You seem to just take to this character. What was the actual experience like of playing her, the specific challenges and all that?
I always wanted to play a teacher, and because I think they have a good teacher has a certain personality that you respect, that's commanding of a room, that students like, that other teachers like, and that she's a science teacher was a whole other thing. It's a very masculine field, and so that gave something to me too, a kind of toughness. So she's at a time in her life, she's in her mid-40s, and she's questioning the experience of her life and whether or not she's really living. And I've seen that with my friends, in your 40s, it just feels really different. The clock is like, wow, I don't have that much more time here on the planet. There's an awareness that can happen. And she's very aware of her fantasy that she could meet someone and she's fantasized about Abe, that he could rescue her and take her away. And she teeters on this fantasy, she's just kind of walking the line of this. She's very aware of the fantasy. I loved that, it's as a character, as a woman, as a Woody Allen woman, kind of, I think of Geraldine Page, who's like staring at the ocean and just that, the role of fantasy.
And it's funny too, because there's the way you play her, and maybe this is just a lot in your personality, but there's a sweetness and a vulnerability to her. There's also this enormous strength, but your heart goes out to her.
I think that's how he wrote it. I think there's enough of Rita to kind of be curious about. I shot it in like 6 weeks. And so I worked like a day a week. So through all that, I'm walking around Newport, and I think every time we see her, we get a feeling that this is a woman that has a lot going on in her life, and she's a busy woman. She's not very happy, but she's not going to torture anybody over it, you know. And she's just really grown up. It was so fun to play, just to be that. I loved it.
Well, it's always, it's always good to see you in meaty roles like this. We're talking to actor Parker Posey, ensemble cast member in Woody Allen's Irrational Man. She plays, as she said, a science professor caught in a loveless marriage who falls for a newly recruited philosopher professor played by Joaquin Phoenix. Movie running the gamut of Kant and Heidegger and Dostoevsky and Kierkegaard and Sartre. What did they? He said, his character says all verbal forms of masturbation philosophy. Acting with Woody, being directed by Woody, I get the impression just from reading interviews with other actors and stuff that he virtually does nothing in a way in terms of extracting a performance out of you. Is that accurate to say, or is that in actuality a misnomer?
No, he does extract. My first day, I did about 20 takes.
You did 20 takes?
Yeah.
Okay, well, wow.
And so, yeah, the first day I hear is always like kind of a shock for him. And
why do you think you did 20 takes?
I think because it was a subtle scene. That's all I want to say, because I don't want to give away. But there was a subtle thing that he was looking for. But I also think he was directing me, and it was fun. It was exhilarating and terrifying, but also fun. I think there's a way to act in a movie. I just kind of felt like, well, okay, well, this is my last movie, and I'm going to quit acting after this. What a way to go! And I'm not in a lot of scenes, so maybe he'll just cut. Maybe I'll just be cut. But then there's always, when you work, you feel like I feel like it's my last job, and I have other career options lined up. So it's never easy, I guess. And but he's also he's very natural. He doesn't want any acting in his movie.
Yeah, I guess in that respect, he always struck me as somebody who sort of stripped away maybe the romanticism of like the director, like screaming at the actor, like, no, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. So it's sort of like the anti-method approach. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, lots of directors like Chris Guest or Rick Linklater, Hal Hartley, a lot of directors that I've worked with. I've worked with few directors like that who've been that way that you're speaking of. And mostly they leave you alone to be in your process of what it is to, become the character and how to protect your performance. Mm-hmm. And because there's so much, meditation that goes into creating a part, and I kind of want to not distract you. And he's very much like that. Saying that, you do feel like you have to get everything in the first take, or that things move really quickly. Yeah. And so there's an enormous amount of focus and energy, and it feels like a sport.
Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. Irrational Man is the film. Ensemble cast member Parker Posey's been our guest, who gives a funny, sweet, and touching performance here. And hey, you know what? I'm going to say Best Supporting Actress Oscar. Let that conversation begin. Come on. But check out Irrational Man. And really, Parker, I wish we had time to talk about all your other great work.
Oh,
the stuff you did for Hal Hartley,
I could talk
Christopher Guest.
I could talk about them forever.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you so much for being here, and good luck with the film.
Thank you.
Not like you'll need it, but hey.
Thank you.
Okay.